Hey there. Before we dive into this story, please hit that subscribe button on my channel for more real-life tales about standing up for yourself and breaking free from toxic dynamics. You're not welcome at the housewarming unless you make things right with your sister, my mom, Teresa, stated bluntly over the phone. I caught faint giggles in the background before my dad, George, added, "She'll get over it. She always does." What they didn't realize was that I'd been silently covering Maddie's mortgage for the past year. And when I finally decided I was done, that housewarming party turned far frostier than they ever expected. If you've ever been the family scapegoat while secretly keeping everything afloat, give this a like. Subscribe if you believe respect trumps entitlement, because this is the story of how my family learned that homes built on deceit and exploitation don't stay cozy for long. It was a Tuesday night, and I was deep in client portfolios when Teresa's voice sliced through my focus like a cold wind. "Megan, we need to discuss the housewarming situation." My stomach nodded instantly. For weeks, our family group chat had been alive with excitement about Maddie's big event. Pictures of gourmet menus, decor ideas, even proof of the live band she'd boasted about hiring. My phone, though, had been oddly quiet. "When's the party again?" I asked, already knowing it was this Saturday. "Should I bring anything?" There was a pause long enough for my pulse to echo in my ears. "Actually, Megan, you're not invited until you apologize to your sister," Teresa said. Her words landed like a punch. I put down my pen and stared at the spreadsheets on my desk, numbers reflecting years of careful budgeting and discipline that had made me successful while my family saw me as their personal ATM. "Apologize for what?" I asked, my voice tight. "For humiliating Maddie at dinner last month," Teresa replied, her tone clipped and practiced. "You made her feel small in front of everyone. The humiliation she meant?" I discreetly pulled Maddie aside and asked why she was flaunting designer bags on Instagram when she claimed to be struggling with bills. She'd stormed off crying, and somehow I'd become the family villain. "You embarrassed her, Megan," Teresa went on. "She doesn't want you there until you say sorry and promise to be more supportive." In the background, I heard Maddie's voice, dripping with smugness. "Yeah, she'll give in. Megan hates being left out." That laugh, carefree, entitled, from someone clueless about the cost of the life she was living. I ended the call without a word, my hands shaking as I set the phone down. Not invited to the house I'd been paying for. Let me back up and explain how I became the family's financial lifeline. 2 years ago, Maddie decided she was ready to own a home. Maddie, my younger sister by 2 years, was always the golden child, stunningly beautiful, with a charm that turned heads. Growing up, she was celebrated for her creativity and free-spirited nature, while I was the practical one, expected to be the family's financial anchor without any of the praise. When Maddie called me, sobbing about her dream house, I should have seen the red flags. "Megan, please," she pleaded over the phone. "This house is perfect, ideal for my cooking videos, with amazing light for my photography. I just need help with the down payment. I'll handle the rest, I promise." She sent me the listing, a gorgeous craftsman home with hardwood floors and vintage charm, the kind of place that could grace a magazine cover. The kind of place I'd been saving for myself. But Maddie's credit was a wreck. Years of missed credit card payments, impulsive splurges, and sketchy loans had tanked her score. She needed a cosigner and cash up front. Against every instinct screaming no, I agreed. I sent $42,000 from my savings, money I'd scraped together for my own home through long hours at my financial advisory business, skipping vacations, new clothes, and nights out. But that wasn't the end. 3 months after she moved in, Maddie called again. Over coffee, she avoided my gaze. "The mortgage is more than I expected," she admitted. "With utilities and HOA fees, I'm stretched thin. Could you help? Just until my business takes off." Her business was a lifestyle blog with 47 followers and an Etsy shop that sold 3 candles. So I set up an automatic transfer, $2, for $100 a month for her mortgage, plus $600 for HOA fees. When her electricity was cut off because she forgot to pay, I covered utilities too. For a year, I bankrolled Maddie's dream life while she posted about manifesting abundance and chasing passions. I watched her share stories of dinner parties, weekend getaways, and shopping sprees, all funded by my sacrifices. I told myself it was temporary, that she'd be grateful, that family helps family. But gratitude never came. Instead, I got lectures about being too money-focused and not supportive enough of Maddie's creative journey. The tipping point was that family dinner Teresa mentioned. Around my parents' dining table, Maddie flaunted an $800 purse, calling it an investment piece. After, I pulled her aside quietly. Maddie, didn't you say you were struggling with the mortgage? Maybe luxury bags aren't the best idea right now. Her face contorted with anger. God, Megan, you're so judgmental. You make good money. You never get what it's like to struggle. Everything's about spreadsheets with you. She stormed off, tears streaming, while Teresa and George rushed to console her, leaving me as the bad guy for daring to question her spending. That night, in my modest apartment, the one I stayed in because I'd given my down payment to Maddie, I saw the truth of the dynamic I was stuck in. I was the family's cash machine, valued only when money was needed, discarded when accountability was expected. The night Teresa uninvited me from the housewarming, I sat at my kitchen table, pulling up my bank records. I printed every transaction, the $42,000 down payment in yellow, 12 $2,400 mortgage payments in blue, HOA fees, utility bills, even the $300 I sent for emergency car repairs that were actually new rims. By the end, I had a 3-inch binder labeled "The House Megan Built" in bold Sharpie. The numbers were staggering. $34,800 in mortgage payments alone, over $85,000 total with the down payment, utilities, and extras. But the real pain wasn't the money, it was the erasure. In every family conversation, Maddie was praised for her success. Look at her thriving, Teresa would gush. So independent, making it all work. They had no clue their youngest daughter's independence was entirely funded by their eldest daughter's sacrifices. The housewarming came on a crisp October Saturday. My phone lit up with photos. Maddie posing by her stunning front door, guests sipping champagne in the living room I'd paid for, Teresa and George glowing with pride next to their successful daughter. I wasn't there. Instead, I was busy. The week before, I'd done something game-changing. I canceled the automatic mortgage payment. For the first time in a year, Maddie would face her own bills. She'd confront the true cost of homeownership. That day, I treated myself to a spa visit, my first massage in 2 years. I got my nails done, splurged on skincare I'd delayed, and dined at a nice restaurant, ordering the wine I wanted without checking the price. For one day, I lived like Maddie had, free of financial stress. 2 weeks later, the panic call came. Megan, something's wrong with the bank, Maddie said, her voice tight with worry. The mortgage payment didn't go through. They're threatening late fees. Can you call your bank? I was reviewing a client's retirement plan in my office. I saved the file, leaned back, and smiled. Nothing's wrong with my bank, Maddie, I said. The payment didn't go through because I didn't send it. Silence. Then, what do you mean? You always send it. I paid your mortgage for a year while you pretended to be self-sufficient, I replied. But you banned me from the house I've been funding, so I figured you didn't need my help anymore. She erupted. You can't abandon me like this. You know I can't afford this place. Then maybe you shouldn't have bought a house you couldn't pay for, I said calmly. And maybe you shouldn't have excluded me from celebrating the home I've been bankrolling. But I need this house. It's my dream, she cried. You're my sister. I'm your sister when you need cash, I shot back. But persona non grata when you're throwing parties. You made your choice, Maddie. Now deal with it. She hung up, sobbing. 3 days later, Teresa and George showed up at my apartment, faces taut with anger. How could you do this to your sister? Teresa demanded before I'd fully opened the door. She's falling apart. The bank's hounding her. She's an adult, I said, letting them in. She bought a house. Mortgages come with it. That's her responsibility, not mine. George's face flushed. But you've been helping her. You can't just stop without warning. Actually, I can, I said, grabbing my binder from the desk. And here's why. I placed The House Megan Built on the coffee table and opened it. George's eyes widened at the highlighted figures, $42,000 down payment, $2,400 monthly mortgage payments, $600 HOA fees, $300 average for utilities and emergencies. Teresa's jaw dropped. You paid all this? For a year, she whispered. While Maddie posted about her success, and you praised her independence, I said. While I stayed in this one bedroom because I gave her my house fund. The room fell silent, save for the rustle of pages as George scanned the proof. Why didn't you tell us? Teresa asked softly. Because I thought my family would know to sacrifice without me waving a flag, I said. I thought someone might see I had no money left for myself, that I stopped talking about my own house, that I was working nonstop but never getting ahead. George looked up, pale. Megan, we didn't know. That's the problem, I said. You didn't know because you never asked. You assumed Maddie was succeeding while I was what? Choosing to live small. Teresa's tears were quiet, not the dramatic ones she shed for Maddie, but ones tinged with shame. We're so sorry, she said. We should have paid attention. You should have, I agreed. But more than that, you should have respected me enough not to ban me from the house I built. You should have questioned how Maddie was really affording her lifestyle before celebrating her independence. The silence was thick with years of unspoken assumptions. What do you want us to do? George asked finally. Nothing, I said. This isn't about you anymore. It's about me setting boundaries. I'm done being the invisible pillar propping up everyone else's dreams. 2 weeks later, Maddie's perfect life began to unravel. Late fees stacked up when she couldn't cover the mortgage. Her Instagram shifted from glitz to quiet panic, selling designer items, hinting at downsizing. The bank called daily. Refinancing was a no-go with her debt-to-income ratio. Selling wasn't an option either. The market had dipped, and she owed more than the house was worth. Meanwhile, I felt free for the first time in years. I redecorated my apartment, bought new furniture, booked a long-delayed weekend trip to Portland. I started saving again, this time for my own dreams. Teresa tried different approaches. First guilt, she's your sister, Megan. Family helps family. Then desperation, she might lose the house. Finally, bargaining. What if she apologizes? What if we all do? But I'd learned a hard lesson during my year of financial servitude. Apologies don't undo exploitation. Boundaries do. Maddie's calls stopped after that first talk. Our Aunt Jean, who stayed neutral, said Maddie was livid, claiming I'd ruined her life and envied her success. The irony was rich. She called me jealous of a life I'd literally paid for. 3 months after I stopped funding her, Maddie moved back in with Teresa and George. The house, my house, was lost to foreclosure. Her Instagram went quiet, her blog died, her Etsy shop closed. She got a marketing job, her first real work in years. Jean said she was bitter, resenting the grind of normal life. I felt no joy in her fall, but immense relief in my freedom. For the first time since college, I was living for myself, not someone else's dreams. 6 months later, I bought my own home, a modest craftsman bungalow with a garden and a cozy reading nook. I paid cash, using savings from the months since I cut off my family's financial pipeline. My housewarming was small, but authentic, real friends who knew my story, colleagues who valued my work, Aunt Jean, who'd seen the family dysfunction for years. We ate well, drank good wine, and celebrated something truly mine. Teresa, George, and Maddie weren't invited. For the first time, I was in a space built on my own terms, funded by my own sacrifices. Teresa still calls, especially around holidays, her tone now cautious, respectful, aware they can't take me for granted. We miss you, she said last time. You miss my money, I replied. There's a difference. She didn't argue. Maddie and I haven't spoken in over a year. Jean says she's doing better, kept the job, got her own place, maybe learning what real independence means. I hope she's grown from losing what I gave her. But that's not my burden anymore. I've learned the difference between family and a transaction. Family doesn't exploit your generosity, then exclude you from the party. Family doesn't claim your sacrifices as their success while dismissing you as an embarrassment. Sometimes the warmest home is one built on self-respect, not others' entitlement. Looking back, I see I spent my adult life serving other people's dreams, thinking it made me kind. It just made me invisible, the foundation everyone built on but no one acknowledged. The hardest loss wasn't the money. It was the illusion that my sacrifices were valued. But that loss led to my greatest gain. Boundaries aren't barriers to love. They're the bedrock that makes real love possible. My house may be smaller than Maddie's was, but it's built on something stronger than payments, self-respect, and the knowledge that I deserve better than being a wallet with feelings. If this story hit home, smash that like button and subscribe for more tales of choosing boundaries over dysfunction. Have you ever been sidelined by the people you sacrificed for? Drop your story in the comments. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't tearing others down. It's building a life so fulfilling that those who took you for granted become irrelevant to your joy.